Introduce the new board members. Some of them are traveling and some of them not here, but we thought we'll just quickly share who the near current board is, and we will discuss the last year's progress on some of the vision and the goals that we have envisioned for MAPS, and we'll go into our financials for the last year. Our treasurer will run through all the financials so that you can see how we did financially, and then we'll open up for question and answer session. So please hold off to your questions. So in the end, everybody board will be there and all of us will answer your questions. Please make note of that. So before we get started, let me just kind of show you our leadership team, inshallah. So we'll start with our imams, Sheikh Joban and Sheikh Nabil. We are blessed to have them. They are the foundation for us. So and then we have our board of trustees. You can read their names: Brother Haider, Brother Ala, Brother Sayyed, and Brother Wael. We have our operations manager, Brother Abdul Salam, you all know. And we have our custodians who are very instrumental in keeping our mosque clean. So Brother Muhammad Farah, Abdu and Mahmoud, and youth director Hassan Nadeem, who is trying to activate all the youth activities for us, inshallah. And above all the volunteers who help with all the events that we do, all the activities that we do. So not this many people are not enough to make an organization like MAPS succeed and drive all the programs. So all the volunteers, and then obviously we have the board of directors who are the thought leaders who are defining the plan and making sure that we are executing and and adhering to our commitments as we make to the community. The next one. So our new board is Brother Muhammad Nasir Wakil, who is our vice president. I would like to ask the board members to come here so that they can say a word or so, introduce themselves. And Brother Riyadh, who is the treasurer, Ayaz, who is the general secretary, Brother Masood, who is facilities, Sister Samia is the social affairs, Sister Khadija is youth affairs, Sister Irma is women's, and Brother Ahmed is education. So I'd like to ask them to introduce themselves a sentence or so that we can get started, inshallah.
So I'm Nasir Wakil. Every Friday night I come and Takbir!
Allahu Akbar!
Takbir! Takbir! Proud of you.
Yeah.
So my name is Riyad Chaman. I live not too far from here. My wife is Hafsa Izaz, 3 kids, Musad 9, Muad 6, and Minha 3.
Masood Hassan. I live in Bellevue. You may see me loitering in the hallways of MAPS. I have one daughter, and my net wife is Narima.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Vanessa Rey. I am from Morocco, and my husband is Redmond from Iraq. He runs Redmond as well. And we have 2 beautiful daughters, Sarah and Sophia, and love coming to MAPS. I've just joined the board last couple of months or so.
Last election.
And I have a couple of announcements briefly. One is we have our first matrimonial event that will happen on March 29th. So if you're single,
that's good.
please
Action.
mark your calendar. And also, if you have any suggestions about this event, or that volunteer, please come see me. Thank you.
My name is Ayaz. I've been here in Seattle area for 16 years. Been working in Microsoft for that many years. My wife Farzana, she is over here. I have 2 daughters. One is senior in college and the other senior in college.
And let me take a few minutes. Sister Irma is blessed with a child, so alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed her. She is on her leave. And Sister Khadija is in between jobs, so she is trying to make sure that she settles down here, so she is not in town, as well as Brother Ahmed Hassan, who is traveling. He is responsible for our education. So Jazakumullah khair for all the board members to make sure that they give their time, valuable efforts, so you can see the results of their hard work, inshallah. So I just want to spend a couple of minutes with our visions. I think this is the same vision that we have launched for about a couple of years ago, and it is still very strong and very vibrant vision for us. It is basically to inspire and foster a community that impacts quality of life both for us individually, according to the Quran and Sunnah, and the community where we live in. So when you see all the programs that we do, we are trying to embody this particular vision for MAPS, inshallah. And our goal is to lead, serve, and make the difference in whichever capacity we are in, whatever project that we are taking in. We try our best to make sure that we do create the impact, inshallah. So I want to go a little bit deeper into the vision. If you look at the 4 big components of how we are trying to realize this vision is around the 4 bounds of faith, outbound good, model citizen, and inbound good. So faith is the foundation for all of us why we are here in MAPS. So alhamdulillah, we want to really focus and bring lot of programs related to faith. In fact, we are trying to think about Sira conference, making it free. We want to create lot more programs where we enrich ourselves as the good Muslims. So all these 4 things, many times when you do not look at the programs that the MAPS does in totality, you may find that some of these programs are very one-offs, but we have a very thoughtful process. The board has met in December to really think through end to end as to what is needed for our community, and we came up with these 4 cornerstones for our vision. So one is the faith, which is really the strong foundation that we want to lay for our children. We want to be grounded in our faith. We should be proud of who we are, and we should really learn the Sunnah of Prophet ﷺ and do everything according to his wish, as well as pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the first and the foremost goal that we want to establish. Then the next one is outbound good. Like Prophet ﷺ has said that the Islam is for the entire humanity. We really want to make sure that how we take our beautiful message and all our beautiful rich traditions, rich attributes as Muslims to impact the society we live in. Our young children are growing here. This is our home. This is our place where we are going to have our next generations. So we really want to make sure that the light of Islam goes into the community that we interact with. So that is the outbound messages. So if you see, in that regard, we are having a Black History Month this month. So we are bringing the museum from Washington, D.C. We are having different speakers come in this month, so that just we understand what as Muslims we have contributed to the greatness of this nation that we are living in. Sometimes we are really bogged down into the media where we are negative, but we really want to show and the truth about what contributions we have made to that. So that is in the outbound good. So when you see some of the programs that are coming in, you can pivot yourself into these 4 dimensions. One is the faith, one is the outbound good, and then inbound good is basically to enrich our own knowledge. How can we create leaders from ourselves? How can our young children be creating the impact in the society we live in? How can we get grounded into the knowledge and be successful in this particular world? So you can see there are many programs that we design around that particular area, and eventually all these 3 is going to make us and our children, our next generation, as the model citizens where we live in. So we want to make sure that we address the entire spectrum of our life in realizing the vision for MAPS. So our thinking is around these 4 cornerstones, and all our programs that we are doing are in line with these 4 areas that you can see it. And anytime you see a program, you can orient yourself saying, hey, this is what it is. We have spent a lot of time, one full day in December, kind of discussing about it, where Rizwan Saleh, who came from outside, was there in our meeting. So at some point in future, we'll go much deeper into what our thinking is to evolve MAPS to the next level. I think today we just wanted to just give a glimpse of our thought process where we are thinking about. So these are just our goals. Our goals, we are focused on ensuring that we are doing the right thing for our youth. We want to make sure that our outreach, taking the goodness of us, reaches to the other places, and it is very well lined up with our 4 areas. We want to design our programs which are effective, efficient, and are beneficial for all the 4 spectrums that we have talked about. And we want to create MAPS as a platform where you should feel free to bring your idea, within the framework that we have and be able to drive it to fruition. There are so many examples that we have who have been successful in coming up with the ideas and driving it in MAPS. So we want to really enrich and cultivate that. And the last is really the financial stability of the organization, so that we can adhere to all the needs that the community has, and us as an organization is financially stable. And we want to make sure that our facilities, tools, websites, all the operational infrastructure that is needed for us is always maintained and always up to date, so that we can take the community forward, inshallah. So this is our general single page which gives you an idea about what MAPS is thinking and what MAPS is trying to do from the leadership perspective. And below is, you can see several of the values that we try to adhere. Maybe not 100% of the time we stick with it, but our goal is to make sure that we have respect for everybody, we have humility, we are sincere in our work. We try to do everything with integrity, being answerable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we want to have transparency, and we really want to embody all these values and take the organization forward. So next. So I just want to recap what we have said a year ago as our goals and how we have done against that. So if you look at the first one, focus on the youth, I feel that we have accomplished what we have targeted for. We had a SAT program which was really helpful for our kids. They increased their score by 300 points by attending at MAPS, mashallah, some of the kids. So that was a very well received program. And then we started youth programs. There were programming classes, there were robotic classes, really focused on our youth. So we feel that we have laid the foundation for the youth to go further in that particular area. On the finance, you are going to see in a minute the details of the finance. We feel that we are operationally breaking even. Still there are challenges, but we were able to bring back our commitments on a regular cadence that we have to do. So we'll go much deeper into that. Focus on community service. This is an area I personally feel that we haven't done enough from MAPS side, so that's why it is sort of like orange or yellow color. So we'll try to work on it. We want to do a dental and eye clinic. We were talking about this since a year. There are a lot of challenges in establishing that, but despite that, I really want to be very transparent and critical, so that we want to accomplish those goals that we are setting ourselves up for. Education, since Brother Ahmed Hassan has joined, alhamdulillah, every time there is a new educational program, a lot of activities going on. I don't have the list here to show, but we have made a lot more progress on the education side of it. And outreach, our interfaith program is on a very solid foundation program, and we are building more outreach activities with the local authorities and the local communities and the churches, etc. And each one of them have detailed projects in it, which we monitor on a weekly basis and make sure that we are making progress against this with the owners, etc. So overall, I think we have done pretty good according to what we had committed. Now in the fundraiser in May, we are going to launch the new goals that we want to shoot for, including some we haven't accomplished, so that way we can make continuous progress on it. So with that, I would like to invite our treasurer to give details of our financials.
So the financials obviously align with the vision, missions, and the goals, and the funds are raised and the funds are deployed with those same goals in mind. So we'll spend some money on some better audio equipment. All right, so all the financial decisions, how we're deploying the funds, are again not in a vacuum but tied to the vision, missions, and goals. At a glance, in 2014, we're running a $1.6 million operation. From a donation point of view, we're raising 75% of that money is raised by donations from you, right, from the broad community. I will go into some more details where those funds are coming. However, I think it's a good balance to have about 75% or so of the money come from the community, and then 25% of that money comes from some other sources of income. Education, like Brother Mahmoud said, has ramped up under brother Ahmed Hassan. So we have introduced a lot more classes. Sheikh Joban and Sheikh Nabil are extremely busy. You can see just in the past few weeks there are additional classes that we've added, and this in turn we charge a nominal fee for those classes, and this is money that we use for our operations. Before I go to event and other income, rental, all of the facilities, does anybody know which one is our largest part of the building that we're renting? Anybody know? Third floor? Anybody knows?
The other side.
Other side, that's true, other side. So if you guys notice, if you drive around, you would see that there are almost storage spaces on the side of the building. There are shutters that are closed. We're renting those spaces. So we're making maximal use of the space to rent and then generate income from the masjid. And the renters are probably classified in a few different categories. In the second and third floor, we mainly have schools. We're focusing mainly on education again. So we're renting spaces to Medina Academy, to PACE. In fact, ICO Masjid, who is now under renovation, is renting room from us to run their classes. We're also renting some rooms to small businesses. So members of the community who's trying out new businesses, in some cases women-run businesses, we're renting those spaces to them. So all the spaces are rented, alhamdulillah. Event and other income, these are income that we generate if in case we're hosting an event and we charge tickets for it. You would see that that's very small. It's 3%, and to some extent it's by design. We want to make, like Brother Mahmoud saying, we're thinking that even for the Sira conference this year, we'll make it completely free. We want people to benefit from scholars and leaders who come and talk to the community. So by making the event free, we maximize benefits from that end. So that's on income point of view. On expenses, expenses are broken 50-50 in expenses related to the facilities and expenses related to operations, right? So facilities, and this is a point that we try to emphasize again and again, the masjid was still paying loans that we took to construct the masjid. Okay, so the construction loan, $325,000, is a loan that is due yearly. There's I think another 2 more years of that loan to year. I'll discuss that in a minute. Hilal Foundation lease again is a lease of the building based on the arrangement that we did when we built the masjid. Repairs and upgrades, these are not regular maintenance. These are not like painting and so on. These are actual big repairs that we're doing. For example, we fixed the roof last year, upgrades, and when we're adding to the facility, when we're improving the capital value of the building. And finally, operational expenses, and that is a big bucket that captures everything that we do, from the employees and paid staff who are on the payroll here, to all the expenses that we use to run the program, to all of the charitable expenses that we deploy next. Just last one on the slide, we're operating within budget, meaning that income was higher than expenses last year. But however, by just looking at this picture, it could be misleading, right? When you look at the financial statement, you need to look at a few different angles: the income statement, the balance sheet, and so on. The reason why the expenses were lower at the end of 2014 was because many of the large repair works were pushed into 2015. We were waiting for some money to be raised in end of December, and then we scheduled many of the work. So you should not look at this as the masjid is doing so well and we're making we've got more money than what we need, but this is a rolling numbers, and you have to look at the overall picture. Okay, next slide please. Okay, so very quickly on income breakdown, I'm not sure whether you can read this clearly, but I just wanted to give you as a few highlights as to where the income is coming, right? We raised $306,000 in the last fundraising. We had $720,000 committed. So there's around $400,000 in pledges. A large part of that we're still collecting, right? We're still collecting, so we've got a few more months to collect those pledges. $140,000 in donations and corporate matches. These donations are tied to corporate matches. The reason I pull this out, these are money that, for example, folks at Microsoft and Google and Boeing are donating to the masjids and are getting matched. And this money cannot be used for religious purposes. So this money can only be used for social purposes. A lot of the events under the outbound good, when we're doing a lot good to the community, is come from that money. Okay, and then we collected again money for zakat and sadaqah and so on. Again, the reason I pull this out, and you guys can read it, is so that not all of the money that we raise can necessarily be used for each and every expense that we have, right? Not everybody can, not all the money, for example, can be just deployed into upgrading the facility. There are categories of using that money, okay? As I said, our school were doing good, alhamdulillah, a lot of classes, Sunday school, preschool, Precious Heart Sister Nihal is doing a wonderful job. Lots of kids are coming on Sunday school. I think we can go into more detail into that. Next slide. So expenses, as I was saying earlier, the fact that the expenses are almost split, 50% goes towards the facility capital expenditures and 50% goes towards operating expenditures is a good plan. So we try to balance that as well. First, on the top there was a construction loan. It was a $1.7 million loan that was issued when we were building the masjid. $325,000 was paid in 2014. There's another $325,000 due this year, 2015, and then the last installment would be $200,000 in 2016. Once we're done with that, we will be done paying that $1.7 million of loan. Next is the lease that we had issued. Okay. So lease that we had issued. So we had issued a $2.3 million lease. The way the lease works, if you guys may not be familiar with it, it is almost like a rent-to-own model, right? So we pay $310,000 on a yearly basis, and that schedule extends all the way till 2026. So we've got quite 11-12 years to pay off that lease, right? So the $310,000 is a recurring amount that we need to raise towards owning the building on 100%. And then the large repairs and new asset purchase, I discussed that previously. On the program, on the operating services, we spent a lot of money on things that again impact the community. Education, sadaqah, zakat, $171,000 were spent in 2014. $128,000 towards occupancy expenses. This has to do with everything from cleaning the carpet, painting the building, everything to keep the building neat, clean, nice, welcoming. I mean, for a facility that's size where we're getting probably about between 1,200 to 1,500 people walking in the building every week, right? We do not skimp on spending money to keep it clean, to keep it pretty, to keep it beautiful. And there's a lot of reasons why we do that as well. Even expenses, again, Ramadan tends to be the month where we spend a lot of money, because that's the time when a lot of folks, you know, basically, most people come to the masjid. So $88,000 in Ramadan. And then I put Friday parking there because I wanted you guys to be aware that we spend a lot of money every Friday. Whether we like it or not, most people come to the masjid one time a week on Friday, and we want to make that experience a really pleasant experience for them. So on Friday, that $19,000 is only to rent Merrimore Park. But beyond that, we spend a lot of money to set the masjid up in the morning. So we have extra hands who come and set the masjid up, clean the masjid afterwards. And now you might have also seen we have 8 parking attendants across all the facilities who are paid attendants to make sure that we're parking legally. We have 2 security guards, and on top of that we have 1 to 2 cops who stand outside. So the Friday collections that we make do not even come close to cover the Friday expenses, but I think that's a unique expense that we've decided to do. Just tied to that also, we're bringing in at least once a month a national speaker from outside to come and talk on Fridays. So that's also part of Friday expenses. Next slide. As I said earlier, while 2014 we ended the year with more income than expenses, it was because a lot of the large expenses were pushed out into 2015. So all of these expenses that you see on the slide here, these are all planned for early 2015, and these are all related to facilities. There's some large expenses related to non-facilities. Just to go quickly on those. Landscaping, you must have seen we've cleaned the whole area around. We've put new flowers and walkways and so on, and this is done, completed in January. Storage, we're finishing the storage. If you drive around, you would see that it's boarded, it's framed, and the shutters have been ordered. So we're going to put shutters on all the storage. And the men's gym, all the stuff that we keep in the men's gyms we could keep them safely outside. Play sets, we're putting 2 play sets because again we're investing so much in education, not just for us but also for the folks who are renting space from us. We're putting 2 play sets on the outside. These would be park grade play sets, so the same quality that you would see in the park outside with all the safety precautions. We'll put that inshallah in Q1 as well. We've already selected a vendor, we've already negotiated that price with them. Merrimore walkway, the city wants us to put a walkway to finish that strip of walkway between Lake Washington to us. The traffic plan is submitted and is with the city right now. And then there are a few things that we're investigating. The HVAC system on the roof needs repair. Library, we're working to implement the library this year as well. And then the sitting area lounge, once we have the men's gym freed, we're planning to convert that into an area where we can sit, because right now you can see there's a lot of folks who are sitting in the hallway with the Jawhar Cafe. Partition, lastly, we looked into partition a lot last year. As you guys notice right now, there's a lot of noise coming from outside, from the other side. It's very difficult to have a speaker having a lecture over here. So we've looked into what would it take to put a soundproof partition and also a gym grade partition in between those two that can be easily collapsed and put in place so that it allows us the flexibility of using the whole space. We've got a quote. If we just want to fix this and put soundproof on it, a few companies that we looked into, they were giving us a quote for $80,000 and a warranty for 2 years. If we want to do it right, like they have it in, say, the University of Washington or some other places, like you see the partition goes up and down, and in a system that allows you to replace panes in the partition if it breaks very easily, and also allows bolts to hit the partition and not break, and soundproof and so on, it's a $220,000 expense. So again, the point I'm trying to drive home is it's not that we have more income than expenses. It's that we have some expenses that we cannot realize yet. All right. So I think with that, that's my last slide on financial update. We can take questions during the Q&A and so on.
Thank you very much, Riyad. So now we'll open up for questions. So inshallah, we are here. The whole board is here. Board of trustees are here. So any questions anybody has, we can get started. Yes.
What did we do for the roof? You can take it.
Yeah.
The roof that we had to take in.
Yeah. So the question is, what did we do for the roof leakage? So we had, one of the roof repair companies come and take a look at the roof, and they had put patches around the places where the leaks were as a temporary solution. And that's why you have some of the stuff that we want to do more on the edges, because there were a couple of issues with the roof leaks. We had the water in the storage room upstairs that was causing a leak, so we took care of that, and then all around the leaks that are there. But still, it is not a permanently fixed solution. We are looking for some cost-effective way to do that.
Yeah, there were 3 issues with the roof. One issue was the roof was leaking at specific spots, and the second issue is I forgot the name for that, but the stuff that they put on the roof has to be finished and fitted at the borders, right, at the edges. This was not done properly initially, so this needs to be redone. Third is the HVAC system on the roof was leaking, and water was seeping in, and then that was like coming down and causing the roof to leak. So we fixed the leaks, we patched the system that was causing troubles, but we did not refitted the whole roof, nor did we replace the HVAC system. So it's good, it's going to last for some time, but it's not a permanent solution, and we're working with Brother Muhammad Atili, who has brought I think 3 separate engineering companies to look at those problems and give us a good quote, and then we'll make a decision. So we've got the solutions from all of them. The quote for the HVAC system alone was around $68,000. So it's not a matter of when can we get it done, it's a matter of like when can we slot it, along with all the other stuff that we're planning.
So that's HVAC plus the roof repair?
No, it's only HVAC. The roof repair for the fitting, it's based on labor and materials. I think at whatever, $35 per hour or something, right? For that, $35,000 I believe. Yeah, the HVAC is
68 plus 35.
So about 100.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Regarding the partition.
Yeah. Yeah. So the question is, why can't we just close the opening area of the partition, because the noise is not just from the partition, but because it is open. You have spent a lot of time talking to them. So.
All right. So first of all, the way this partition is built, this whole thing is one whole system, and it has to be able to move in, collapse, and pull back. So if you want to put an additional pane, you need to put a panel, or that panel, from that specific manufacturer, right? Which I think is a manufacturer in China, right? We've looked into, can we replace this by a similar sort of partition? And that's where, you know, if you put this type of partition, the same one, brand new, one that could close in there, the warranty is only for 2 years. Nobody gives you a warranty for more than the life of this is only 2 years. Bolts keep hitting it, and the amount of times that we pull in and pull out, it doesn't last. So effectively, there's no easy fix, there's no easy replacement, but there is a very good alternative, which is expensive.
I'm not sure why it's so hard to get everything or reconfigure or whatever the 220 is a big.
No, so yeah, let me answer that. So we have spent at least 3 months with different options, looking at all the pros and the cons of closing, adding a panel versus leaving it like that, adding the sound system. We came to a conclusion, both from the experts and us, that this is the solution. But even if we do that, after maybe 3 months, the sound will still be coming. And after 3 months, we'll have to take care of it, because this partition is not the one which is going in and coming out. So this served its life for 5 years since we installed, because at that time we didn't want to spend that much money, so we went with the cheaper option. So
In fact, we spent $3,000 fixing one panel 3 months ago.
We already spent $3,000 fixing one of the panels because it got stuck. So it's the option which is, you spend some money to get it done, so it's 15-year warranty, which is normally those standard partitions are, versus every year you look at it. Yes.
So first I want to thank everyone for your hard work. The new board really was able to take mass as the community got bigger. But this is my observation over maybe the last few years. First, I want to thank you guys again for working hard and all your work has been going now. I see today you guys had security guards, and this is like very advanced level for us. But what I'm observing while missing the spiritual, friendly gathering we used to have in the old Max campus in the beginning of Max. As like, you know, I used to be an active member, I used to be and see people from diverse background. We used to have gathering Friday, Sunday, and that's what built the community. I don't see that anymore. I see, mashallah, maybe very good genius Microsoft corporate running the business, doing it very well from production operation, but from spiritual friendship, I don't see that. And what I'm seeing it now, that as a community grow up, some groups, they became like, I'm sorry to say that, especially what's all happening in the world right now, became like the non-Muslim, the home only zone area. So some people from certain home area, they have their own classes, their own programs, and only close to that mentality, they're using back home curriculum and classes. And when you talk with Muslims, they are limited. I'm not again saying most of them. They're sitting here maybe leaving for a limited time, and this will be the problem in 15, 20 years from now. We'll not find a generation who are able to come and defend about Islam and Muslim and integrate with American life, able to, for example, talk in the media, to have to defend us from the human rights perspective. I'll give you a best example. If you come every Friday now from 5 to 7, I come back here. I can't even enter Max. So I felt I lost the place I used to live all my life. I worked so hard for it. And what I'm feeling it, especially with the election, I connect that to election, we had one amendment in our election. We didn't have anyone came to the street and to meet the curriculum. And this is because the dangerous signals to the board and Max. With all that hard work, we are not able to have the members to vote in the work. This is a very dangerous signals to the community, and all of you know about it. And we have to face it right now. We need to increase in the board the connection to the board and the heart, integrate the new generation people who are working in groups to be with their home back mentality. We like it, it's nice, but they need to know what's going on in the mosque. They need to come to elect. It has to be at conditions. I see them again, very crowded in certain days, and none of them come when it comes to election, fundraising, and very important key milestones in the community.
So let's translate the Tariq's question in 3 areas. Number 1 is missing the spirituality, the experience that he used to have in the old maps. So I'll ask Nasser to just kind of address it a little bit. Otherwise, I can address it. But I thought you may have some context as to what religious programs you are doing. Yeah. Okay. So I think if you have seen the focus that we are trying to bring in. We do have a lot of religious programs. I think as an organization is going beyond a small entity that was there before. This is a natural growth that we are having in an organization. So there are so many religious programs that we have where people can attend and get the knowledge and get focused. Both Sheikh Jaban, Sheikh Nabil and Brother Hijazi. A lot of people are doing different segments of those courses that to bring the spirituality up. I agree with you that if you come on Friday, we have a whole bunch of classes that are going on, and that's actually a good thing. Now, if we not satisfied with the curriculum or the stuff that is being taught, please reach out to the instructor as to what it is that you have the feedback, and we'll work with them. I will pass this information to the landlord, he is not here, so we can kind of take a look at that. And the third one was the participation. I'm 100% with you, because I think in order to get this many people for the town hall, we have to do so much advertisement and get it. And I think people either are, feel that things are okay, they are not coming even, or they feel that it is not important for them. But we'll try to work and get more and more, and you can help us well by talking to the community who you interact with to make sure that they come and attend, inshallah. And we'll provide the feedback on the education to the education group.
Good question. So one more question.
So I actually wanted to ask the same, not the same, or maybe comment on the same topic, which is basically engagement, community engagement. Just a quick comment. I think when the community grows, you lose the home feel, of course. That's kind of like the small town, big town experience, right? But in terms of the engagement, I think we want to reflect back from being on the non-leaders of the community, being just currently the people who come to pray, and kind of like change the mentality of ourselves and even of the people around us, is to stop treating maps as, especially if you're new coming here, a couple of months, maybe 1 year or 2 years, maps is not the masjid at home that is around the corner that you're going to find praying Jum'ah in, and if that closes, you're going to go to the other one and on the other corner. No. Maps was here because it was built by people who actually felt connected to it. It's the community who did that, and Maps is your place. If you find something that needs changing, don't disengage, actually engage more. I think that's the message we should try to distribute amongst ourselves. I know that I'm preaching for the choir. If you're here and you believe that, I'm trying to encourage us to reach outside to the people who didn't come.
Thank you. Yes.
Sorry, can you tell us about the existing parking situation?
Okay, all right. So, the question is, can you tell us about the existing parking situation? Let me start with the maps itself. So, we have about 137 parking spaces in the facility in Maps. Then on our neighboring church, we have an agreement with them only for Friday. Only for Friday, not in the evening, only for Friday prayer, to park on the adjacent parking lot of the building. That's the second one. Third, every Friday, we have many more park of 160 parking spots that we are renting. So the 160 plus this is another 100 plus this. So this is our official parking areas, along with some of the parking that we have on the road. We work with the city to remove that. Then additionally, I always send an email to the Microsoft facility adjacent to that, where we can park as a Microsoft employees, provided we have badge, provided we don't park in the front of them areas for Friday. So there is no agreement with them, either they agreed with it, but being a Microsoft facility, we could use that for some of the parking areas. So these are the general parking spots that we have agreed upon.
The parking next door at the church only for Juma prayer is not for the evening. And we need special permission to park there. They have some events of their own on Friday evening. So we're not allowed to park Friday evening.
And no Lake Washington. No Lake Washington.
And not Lake Washington. They have complained that they found 20 cars parked there on a given Friday. So we have to be very careful not to annoy our neighbors. Take a look.
I think we should just put that in the newsletter. We need something in the newsletter out of the
There should be just some kind of a map or some
Hang on.
part.
Yeah, go ahead.
There should be a map where where
Yeah, okay. So the feedback is to put in the newsletter or have somewhere visible for people to know the parking. Inshallah, we'll take that feedback and act on it.
Are there any big plans that look ahead to the next 5 years?
Yeah, we just talked before. What we want to do is we are going to come much in the next meeting. We have formalized it. We are still in the review. The board is discussing about what are some of the goals that we are going to do, and we'll have in the next one. Tying up to the 4 pillars. There won't be something really drastically different, but we are positioning ourselves under the faith, outbound good, inbound good, and being a good citizen. So within those 4 pillars of our vision, we are going to come up with the plans for next year, plus fulfilling the things that we said we are going to do, which we didn't do.
Brother, I'll share this already. Can you have the? Can you?
Thank you so much for giving this talk today. I think it's really vital for the community to know what's going on inside. Last month, I was in the Bay Area, and so the Imam Sundar happened to be there, and he shared a event that he did a couple years ago about community healing. And that event that was supposed to be an hour went over 3 hours. Basically, there was a line of people just asking requests of prayers of just about anything. Prayers of, parents, pray for my parents, healed, sickness, family member behind bars, anything. And I was surprised how people kind of, reached out, giving resources. You'd be surprised how much all the people helped out. And so that night, it went on. He tried to make it shorter for an hour, and it was really moving. And I agree with him. We don't do enough community healing gatherings, and I really think Mark should do that. Every 2-3 months, once every 2-3 months, I think that's amazing to do that. And I'd like to request you all prayers for my parents who are ill right now, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much for your suggestion. I think the question was, we all have, difficulties in our lives. Parents being sick, family members being sick, issues that we are having. So sister was suggesting to have a gathering either with one of our sheikhs here once a quarter or something, so we can pray for all the difficulties we are having. We'll discuss with Sheikh Juman and Sheikh Nabeel, and inshallah we'll try to see if we can do that. So inshallah we'll try to do that.
There are some questions. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you very much for this talk. The parents and children. And I guess that's my idea of it. I think people in the States. I was wondering if you can tell us exactly activities that are taking place at the masjid? Who should we get in contact with if we want to participate, and how can we get involved?
Okay. The question is, where can we see the community services list that is going on in masjid? Who should they contact and how they can participate? So Brother Abdul Salam, who is our office manager, the list is also on the website, but it would be good for you to just sit with him. He can run through with all the activities, that's great. And then we have all the board members driving different set of activities. So depending on what community service activity you want to drive, he can easily connect that with you. Inshallah.
Newsletter and Facebook.
Yeah, so if I read correctly, I think zakat and sadaqah was as part of income of the masjid. And I was kind of confused, how can it be an income? Because in my mind, zakat is not supposed to be kind of used by the masjid.
Right, no, you're right. I think it's just a term definition here. By using income there, actually we meant the money that is coming in. Right, we did not mean money that we are earning. Okay, so like I said, there are various categories of money that is coming in, and we use those into their right buckets. Zakat is a good example, sadaqah is a good example, and the corporate matching is also a good example. And we take good precaution. In fact, for the corporate matches, we've got a separate account, separate checkbook altogether to make sure that those monies are used appropriately.
So masjid does not use zakat, right?
So zakat, very good question. We have a lot of programs where we're helping a number of people. We help people through various levels, right? There are some folks who we help on a monthly basis. There are some folks who just walk in and they need money, and we help them. And lately, we are actually acting as the go-to place for anything that MHS, Muslim Housing Services, cannot assist with. So Muslim Housing Services have a program. They run the background check on folks, and they check their case, and they try to help them. Whenever they cannot, they refer those cases to MAPS. Just this week, for example, there was a refugee family that was getting evicted. They would have been yesterday, actually, day before yesterday, I believe. They would have been outside on the rain. So we came in at 8 o'clock and we assisted them. So we assisted from a charitable cause, not just people who are needy on a monthly, regular basis, but also on an on-demand basis. We're assisting other organizations like MHS. We work with a number of other organizations around Seattle, MCRC. We've worked with organizations on, closer to the so various communities where there's higher needs. Just one last point. Just the day after Eid, right? The day after Eid. So I think it was on a Friday. On Saturday and Sunday, Sunday alone, there were 200 families. 200 families at MAPS. Okay, it's amazing if you see the number of Muslim families who are needy. 200 Muslim families at MAPS who came to collect, zakat and sadaqah that we raised during Ramadan.
Sorry, if I may add one more point, that anytime you donate towards the zakat fund, zakat box, that is destined to help the needy in the area. Now there is a difference of opinion and conservative Sheikh Redmond. They said that we are having fundraiser and you, out of your zakat, donating the money towards the masjid. You don't mention that it's going towards zakat, but you are donating towards the masjid. There is a difference of opinion, and scholars say that we can donate out of zakat money in a non-Muslim country towards masjid. But that is between you and what you are doing. But whatever you donate towards the zakat fund, that gets distributed to the local people.
Just one thing someone was mentioning actually with regards to the updates to the website for what's going on. The website is actually not updated. There's nothing on it. So we get the newsletters, but sometimes even the newsletter has outdated times for halaqas and such, stuff like that. And also sometimes the newsletter comes out really last minute. So there was a visiting speaker, for example, for Jum'ah, and a lot of people end up missing it. The second thing is, with regards to the khutbahs of the Jum'ah, if I can make just a suggestion. Usually what we see is that visiting speakers give really powerful khutbahs. I mean, for a reason they have a lot of experience and they really focus on, they present a problem but they give a solution. Whereas a lot of times when we come to these khutbahs, there's a lot of youth present. And all they hear is they say this about us, they say this about us, this is wrong with us, this is wrong with us, and there is no real solution. So these kids are going out and they're hearing all this, there's a lot of things wrong with us, but there is no real way, there's no tools for them to use to deal with when they're going out into this real world. So that's the second thing.
Can I answer these two questions and then you think about it? So because I may forget the question. So the very first one, I totally agree with you. Our website is not the best of the websites. We try our best to keep it up to date. But we are actually on a project to launch the new website, inshallah, and it is going to come probably in a month or so. And Ayaz is actually working. We saw the first prototype of it. So we are completely uplifting it so that all the relevant correct program information and all the stuff that you are looking at, hopefully you should be able to find. The second one is the newsletter coming, late, like Friday morning is what you see the newsletter, but the event is in the evening. We are doing our best to advertise them independent of the newsletter. So you should be able, if you are on the MAPS mailing list, you should be able to see some of these programs. And some we miss, I agree with you, but I think we are putting a system in place to really look at those key programs which you don't want to miss, and advance notice is given to you, inshallah. Yeah. The newsletters also will be published on the website. So then on the podcast.
So I think very, very valid feedback, and I think one thing we are really lacking is that how do we collectively get the feedback from you and pass it on to our Fatih, because it's a very diverse and very open audience. Very difficult, sometimes our Fatih comes and he addresses, and then one part of the community is really excited, but other part of the community does not take it. So it's very hard to find that balance. What we, as a guiding principle, we try to accommodate different thoughts, different schools of thought, and also like on the conservative side and towards like more open side, we try to balance it out as much as possible. But I think the key thing is that sometimes we do get feedback, but not as much as we should. Mashallah, the feedback is very nice, and how do we, part of the website update, we are thinking of developing some tools that, like right from your app on the phone, while you are walking out, we can just quickly provide the feedback and we pass it on to our Fatih. So inshallah, this way we can collectively improve.
Inshallah, I think maybe at the start there should be a guideline for what a khutbah should contain and what it should stay away from, especially in today's, for obvious reasons.
And we do have guidelines. Every time when we have new Fatih coming in, we do kind of that.
Sorry, can I just before so I can pass it on to you guys? For issues that are very difficult to talk about, especially for youth, can we have programs that are more open-minded and more explicit?
We had,
let's say, for those growing youth.
We had Sheikh Hatim give a on puberty and so on. So if you mentioned that.
But also maybe more not just for them and separate boys and girls. Also education for the parents, how to deal with things like sexual matters, different orientations as they grow. How to cleanse themselves. I think these things are really important issues, and they're not really being addressed here. And the kids are just hearing a lot of things outside of the community, where we should be the ones who reach out to them more.
So I think on that specific program, Sheikh Hatim did this about 8-9 months ago. Specifically just for the people, young adults, who are working in going through the puberty. So there was a specific program targeted towards that. And I guess what we are hearing is that we need to increase those programs.
One-on-one. Good.
So yeah, I think it is a good, we do one-off programs like Brother Nasser has described, but I think with the need, we have to look at a cadence where it is more often, where people can mix them part. And we take that as a feedback and we'll try to see what we can do.
Just very quickly on this. So very quickly on this, on a one-to-one, if you're seeking to on the one-on-one advice, Imam Joban's obviously has office hours. So also Sister Huma, who is a counselor, she also has office hours at MAPS. So I think those programs satisfied a larger audience, but there's also avenues for one-on-one solutions.
Assalamu alaikum. I want to thank all the board members for all the hard work that you do. I just have one suggestion. I would like to see the long-term planning, especially for events. So for example, that the kids winter break is coming, right? So whatever activities that you are planning, if I know that what Max is planning, then I can plan my life accordingly, right? So if I could get like a 3-month or 6-month rolling calendar, that would be very helpful. So for example, Ramadan is starting in June, right? So if we start talking about Ramadan programs from now onwards, then people can plan, especially working parents. If you're talking about what summer programs you're going to have, then I can align my kids' summer camp schedule with which programs they can attend, math versus what they need to do as a part. Right? So if we have like a rolling calendar, at least 6 months moving forward calendar, with respect to family events, like football events, I think that can help people start better.
That's a great suggestion. Inshallah, we'll try to, each one of us will discuss and try to publish it in our website.
While you are on this topic, I will announce 2 programs. First of all, one program inshallah is our Sira conference we are planning on May 1st and 2nd. That Sira conference most likely will be co-hosted by our partners inshallah in Texas. So we will reveal the name inshallah of that organization and they will help us bring good speakers. So mark your calendar for May 2nd, 1st and 2nd. On May 16th, we have our annual fundraiser, so mark your calendar for that as well. So inshallah,
Okay, fine.
and inshallah, in summer, end of summer, Labor Day weekend is going to be 4th of September to 7th. So today we got this reservation for a family camp at Whitby Island, Camp KC. So mark your calendar for that. So inshallah, as we iron out, we'll send an announcement for registration.
We need 2 more, only 4 months. 4 months.
On the short announcement, so Black History Month is this month, and we have a very important event on the 21st, so 2 Saturdays from today, where the DC-based Islamic Heritage Museum is going to come here, and they're going to bring their exhibits with them. This exhibit has toured the country, toured the world. So, we decided to bring this event here for a number of reasons, but I think it will show the community that the Muslims have been in America for a long time and has contributed to the development of this country. So, thought I'll throw this in as well. You got a question, Hassan?
So two issues, inshallah. The first one is activism, and the second one is role models for the youth. Lack of role models for the youth is devastating, because the absence of a role model means it's a void, it's a space, something is going to fill it. So if we don't work for that, so we need to see programs really specifically directed at creating role models, and I'm talking not only through history, but also role models here. In this community, there is a lot of successful people. And I'm not talking money-wise, I'm talking about people that have succeeded in every field they work on. So we need to incorporate those people into a role model program for our kids. That's one. 2, activism. I think one of the most lacking problems that we continue to talk about and we kind of have not been successful at, ever since I have been in part of this community, including myself, is being active. So we really need to sit down and draw a plan and create some sort of a plan where we ask ourselves, how do we get people involved? I mean, one thing that we all know, that if you feel that you're part of this community, then you're able to contribute. If I feel this is my next year, I will be more involved in it. So what is it that we need to do to get a room more than this? And I know that it's sort of the never-ending question. Like churches here are empty. We're doing much better, alhamdulillah. But still, we need to kind of really excel in this, and really, especially for our youth, because if we combine those 2 programs together, like really success is if we get our kids involved in this. Once they see role models that are actively working in this community, then we can move forward. Those are just 2 points.
Jazakallah. Thank you so much. These were great suggestions, and I think we will look at it, we will discuss with Hassan, and we'll see.
Yeah. very quickly on the role model, you know, with the Black History Month, there's another event only for the youth that's going to take place next Friday, I believe. So we're bringing Professor Michael Perez, who's a Muslim from UW. He has written a lot on problems like Gaza and so on. He combines that activism as well as the scholarship and education to come and talk to the youth. Last month we brought UPF, for example, right? The director Jawad Abdurrahman, who was here, has they are using media, new media, right, to retell the story of Islam in the new light and new context and new language. So I think we have some of those, but I agree with you, we probably might want to focus more and find somebody who's a bit more permanent. Yes.
Yes. So one point I want to raise is when you come to the masjid, if you came today in the Jummah prayer, you would see this masjid is completely packed.
Yeah.
But if you come to this masjid at any other time, unfortunately, it's a very, very sparsely populated masjid. Now, I wonder, like, first bring it to your attention. I'm sure you guys know about it. I want to get your info, your feedback. What are you thinking about? I mean, it's a reality that we have right now that, hey, not everyone who comes to Friday is going to come to the other prayers. But what are we doing as a masjid to change that turnover? And one suggestion that I had would be that as MAPS grows, and I've seen it grow mashallah tremendously, is that when we have this khutbah that people are coming to on Friday, they should sort of build on each other. So they're not just one guy speaks about something and somebody else speaks on something else, but maybe have a theme in a month. For example, we had Black History Month. You could have had like 3 or 4 speakers. They kind of build on each other, or maybe the same guy who comes for like 3 weeks and he gives you one idea and he brings it to a fruition, because half an hour sometimes isn't enough to like talk about something. So just the question is, what are you guys doing towards trying to increase attendance outside of the map?
That's actually a very good question, and I think that's the phenomena not only in this masjid, but any sector that you go around in the United States. So what are we doing about it? I think as you have seen in the last year, our focus has shifted in bringing good speakers from outside, and we're investing a lot in making their travel arrangements so they connect with the community. There's a whole audience with it, and we are still very new in that phase. And your idea of having a theme, we did discuss once that every month we should have a theme. We'll try implementing. Not all the speakers like it. Some of them want to do what they feel comfortable, but that's a very good idea. So what MAPS is doing is, you can see, we have started a lot of evening programs where you see a lot more people on Fridays than, let's say, about 6 months ago. So that's a good thing. Then bringing these speakers and tying up for the weekend, like Friday evening and Saturday and Sunday, would tend to bring more and more. I think if you ask my honest opinion, if the quality of the speakers and the connection that they are establishing, the topic content, I think a lot more people would come. If it is not like you were talking about one topic is this, one topic. So we have that core to our hearts, and we are just trying our best to accommodate that, inshallah.
So very quickly on this, very quickly on this attendance issue, because I think Brother Tariq also raised that earlier. I mentioned earlier that we have between 1,000 to 1,500 people walking to the masjid. There's also, we have to be careful of this immediacy bias, right? If we come in at one time and we don't see people, and we tend to think that nobody is coming to the masjid. I was here a few months ago for Zuhr on a Tuesday, and it was packed. And this is because there are events every day. There are events in the morning, there's even in the mid-afternoon, there's even at night. So people are coming. If you count the total number of people walking through the door on a weekly basis, it's higher, it's increasing. We see it on Jummah as well. But the other effect of that is, obviously you have it, it's dispersed, right? So I think we should be careful of not taking one specific time snap and generalizing that across what's happening. I think the attendance is increasing for sure.
Yeah.
So I have a question that's actually very close to my heart. There is a hate crisis going on, especially among Muslims right now. There are some Muslims who are actually leaving Islam. And it's a big issue. I don't know what the answer is, but I wonder, what is the masjid doing to make make sure that people who are on the fence or having doubts that they have a proper coaching and proper some channel to answer those questions, if not to kind of go that route. And my second question is actually about the engagement that Brother talked about as well. So in some massages we see they produce a lot of great speakers, a lot of great scholars, like there was an Irving, Texas, to produce them. So, I mean, what structures can we put in place here that will allow for, speakers that could be like nationally recognized?
So on the speaker side, let me address it. I think we are kind of thinking about how we bring the different, talents from outside, as well as some of our internal, like local massages and other stuff to see we can bring it. So we always bring some of our youth speakers to the MAPS to kind of build on top of it. Our area is very, kind of new compared to Dallas or other areas. They are well established. Seattle is a growing community. So, we have to keep working at that. So we will, kind of take that. On your first question about people who are on the fence, we have a very good IOC where, people who want to learn more about Islam, that they can come. The second one is the whole, if you look at the setup of MAPS, I think it's a very comfortable environment for some of those people to at least come compared to the massages that we, some of the other massages that we see.
It's talking about the other way around. People in going out.
Yeah, even I will address that. So people in going out, we have to design these programs which attract them. And you can see in the Good Citizen world, we have different events which people gather. Like for example, on the Super Bowl, we had 300 people. And all of them break the time to pray. So they connect with us. Those who are on the fence are seeing, look, we are not just focused on one side of it. So that's the first step for them, and then they can go into the next steps to really learn more about it. And we have different programs for them, inshallah.
Actually, on this base practice part, Imam Siraj Bahaj was here last Friday.
2 Fridays ago.
2 Fridays before. And he specifically addressed that. He talked about this second door at the masjid, right? The front door is people who are coming, and the second door where people are leaving. It's very serious problem. But he sort of put the onus on the community everywhere, right? To everyone, because all of us sort of have a friend circle, right? And we have a influence on that friend circle. You know what your friends are doing, which of your colleagues are not coming to the masjid, they are working with you, they are actually people missing Jummah after Jummah, attending meetings at work. It happens to all of us, and we know that, right? So who really should at least make an attempt to like on your part that influence their decision and make sure that attract them. Now what we can do, inshallah, so that like what kind of support you need from the board, what kind of structure we can put in, find out the reason why we are losing these people, inshallah, and this is something that we should seriously study and have a well thought out in conversation about.
Thank you so much for your effort. I have a couple of comments and questions. First, I would like to see in the goals that we have for 2015, more numbers.
Yeah.
And I would like to see okay, we want to grow maybe the number of events from X to Y. And the second thing, the question I have is, how do we judge on the quality of our programs? Do we have a survey or something and reach out to people to provide feedback, and we see how this is aligned with our goals? Okay, how do we increase the quality, right? And my third question is very minor to me, very important to me. How is our relationship with our neighbors here? I was concerned about this a couple of years ago, a year ago, so I would like to know.
Right. So first one, I think you are perfectly correct. You want to see measurable goals with clear metrics around what we say. We do have this was an up-level view of it. If you go into each one of these blocks, there are projects. You can see some of them was embedded, which is some numbers were there. Not every one of them are that quantitative, but some measure to really know whether we are successful or not. So that's a great feedback, and we are not there yet, but we are working towards, because being volunteer organization, depending on resources, we'll have to just manage that. But that's a very, very valid feedback. So we are going to, we are in that particular process of doing that. The relationship with the neighbor, we have, before building was built, there was a parking discussion, so that's why the relationship wasn't that good. We got our permit, and they requested us to give them permission to park. Had we given at that particular window, our permit would have delayed. So we kind of politely disagree with that at that time, discussing with our people. But we overcame that. Now we have a tremendous relationship. In fact, we had held an event combined with them. We have their whole community come here and play basketball with us. And now they are inviting us on April 4th to go to their open house. And our relationship has become very much better. On the same side, I would say, anytime we make few steps, we take a step back if somebody wrongly parks there or in the event, and we keep working at it. So the neighbors in the front, we have that issue. People crossing their yards, people kind of park and when they ask them to leave. So we try to build as much as we can, and we are working continuously to improve that. That's why we have this 8 parking people who are managing those areas. Did I answer all your questions?
How we judge the quality?
Yeah, so we have surveys on the quality of the programs, on the education and the classes, especially in the education side of it. We get good feedback. We are not that good at capturing feedback on all the events, and we are working on a system to do that.
So thank you for being, I've been in the area for a long time, and it's always great and heartwarming to be able to see a board that's willing to accept feedback from the community and be honest and sincere and have transparency. So thank you for that. And also, one of the observations for me personally is that we have a true diversity on the board. One point is, I think we talk about youth, but we don't have any youth being represented on the board. And I think I agree with Hazm and a couple of the comments made about how do we make programs that are targeted for youth. I think we do a lot around speakers. I think we need to more targeted programs. Think about a big brother role model, right? You have the teenager, some
Sister
18,
Khadija.
20 son,
No, go ahead.
leading and helping the younger youth. My son is about 7 years old. I can talk to him to death about things, but he's probably not going to listen to me as much as he listens to other youth.
Sister Khadija and Ahsan. Nasser can re-answer this.
More Semantic Issaquah area, and the brothers there, we came up with a good idea that we have youth rider trail. And I find that the youth, the older youth and the younger youth, we started with 5, 6 kids, and today when I took my son, it was about 20 kids. So it's grown up, and it became a good idea where they could have, Brother Wasim, Brother Farah, and a few others have given very targeted topics on the khutbah that are targeted to the topics that the sister was talking about. Very targeted to the youth. You can get a little bit more often. Smaller group, you can really address some of the concerns that they might have, and even give them an opportunity to ask for suggested topics that they are having challenges with at school. Why do Muslims don't drink? Why do Muslims don't believe in this, believe in that? These are important things, and I agree we need to kind of, other than speakers, really grow organic programs. So as we all age, right, our youth will start taking over the positions and lead the community to the future.
Good suggestion, brother. We actually are thinking about a mentorship program, big brother, big sister type mentorship program. So that is a little, small step towards what you're talking about.
And also, we have, similar with Ahsan Nadeem, our youth director. He has a group of youth that he connects with and goes for different type of events. But we just started last year. We want to make sure that we have a more focus. I think I totally agree with you on your suggestion. And frankly, we are actually struggling to get it, despite all our efforts. And I think any of the ideas you or Hazim has offline, more than happy to discuss some of those suggestions and then see how we can incorporate it.
Somebody can announce the youth programs that are in the middle.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. So as I find a person in the youth program we have here, there are a lot. So I come here, we have the maps, Friday prayer after school, so a lot of people come to my Friday prayer after I leave school. After the program that the president was talking about, that's a very good program where we do events every week. We do charity events, we do social events, we do halakas where we talk about topics that we want to talk about with him. And so it's a bit of a whole older group, it's like a 13, 14 plus. But I feel like personally as a youth guy, like IMAX is definitely a place where I can find and relate to people and talk about things that I need to learn and also have fun with my friends. So I do enjoy the youth programs.
Thank you. Jazakallah for everything, Barakallah fikum. I just wanted to add to the point that the brother talked about people on the fence. In fact, there are a few issues that could be addressed all together. So this is one of them, which is very important. Another one would be, I think we already have here a sadaqah office or something that if a needy person comes, he finds that he can do it. But we are not reaching out to the community, to those people who are in need and who are not, and they don't come to us because they are shy or because they are humble or whatever. So I think there could be something like a social committee as part of the social service that we have that can address this. A third scenario that I have in mind is that, mashallah, a majority of us here perhaps work in a very close neighborhood, so we know ourselves not only in the masjid but even at work. But it seems that, and I have noticed that very often, that there are people who may come to the masjid for the first time, and just because no one would say salam or they come and ask about them, it turns out that they will come the second time and the third time and then they will find somewhere else, or maybe they will not come very much at all. It would be great if there are people who might be working together as part of a social committee where they look for those people and they target them. The fourth scenario I have in mind, and it happens quite often here again, is that there are plenty of times where we hear all of a sudden brother is sick and he's in the surgery, no one was aware of that. How could this happen when we are this like one family? I know that I mean all of these could be addressed by something called social committee. Perhaps we have it now, but maybe that will be added to their charter. I think the thing, the challenge here is that mashallah the community is growing so big. And it does, the amount of volunteers that we have do not scale with that growth. So, but maybe we can think about people who might not be that dedicated, but they can be, we can delegate certain things to them, inshallah, and have
That's actually very good suggestions, inshallah. So we made a note of them, especially in some of the items, and in fact, Nasser was saying there was one brother here, he actually left, who moved. So we want to have this welcoming. We used to do that in old maps, when we started, where every Friday we will invite people who are new to the community. So, kind of just other people know about them. So we will start, taking that advice from each other.
First of all, I would like to thank you guys for all the activities you're doing. I'm very surprised with a lot of activities like the last Super Bowl one, like a lot of creative stuff that's happening around. So that's really great. What? Awesome idea. That's one. It's even bringing the message not only prepared, it's also for gathering all people. And I love the idea of frankly for myself, I love if the masjid is part of working, coming to the masjid is part of my life, not only in the prayer, also on the community service and the proceeding and these things. And to have something that is not even for me, for all my friends and all my people I know, is I find it a little bit hard for me because of a couple of things that I think practically. So first thing, I want to scout leader, and a lot of times I went to a couple of scout camps. And if you are a scout leader, you have, like, let's say I'm a scout leader for a Muslim group, we have to serve for the boys to earn the badge. They have to serve something at different culture, like a church or something. People came to me and they camped a lot of times and told me, can you send us like a list of community services or volunteering that's your neighborhood, or you like, you guys Muslims, right? I see like your wife wearing hijab, stuff like that. So can you suggest anything for us? So I went to the website, and until this day, I went to that today again, and I found services and other services like marriage, stuff like that, and they give learning, some courses, but there's no tab that's called volunteering. I went to a church that's called Overlake Church for our group. 4 tabs: serve, give, our programs. So if you want to give, you organize a lot of things. More than that, I tried to go to volunteermatch.com, and I searched for Redmond maps. Redmond Muslim. Only the thing appeared was CARE organization. And volunteer matches, like for me with my wife, when I really even want to go to any volunteering, I go to volunteer match and I search for the opportunities there in the area, and I do. So I think it's going to be very easy even for our masjid just to create a profile on volunteer match, like what Brother Salam is doing for parents. They're really nice, but there's not a technical, not like just volunteering. And just have a profile for match there and post the stuff that you can do. Me and my friends were trying to volunteer for a group. We were going to Northwest Harvest. They have a really nice application. You go online, you see the programs, you see the schedule, everything is nice. I just submitted the application. They replied to me with the dates, and that's it. So I find it very easy. So that's for the group. So something else is I find it for like I would like to do like for like girls and women in general to be involved in such things, because they're gonna have a really great effect if they
on a weekly basis. On a weekly, yeah. I mean, they said the whole thing, but they're on contract for weekly to come.
So
yeah,
every weekly. At home in the morning.
No, paid.
Taking care of the kids like this one.
$600. $600.
I think it's going to be a really good idea. If the masjid can, you guys have moms and thoughts, something like this. If this is for free, as volunteering, please come, drop your kid, and come and do other volunteering stuff for us. This is not going to cost you money. You guys are already doing the moms and thoughts. Like, why just saying, okay, come and
you can talk about the bouncing castles.
Whatever. You guys have all the opportunities, and it's going to be. They're going to be very excited about it. They're going to feel they're affecting the community around. So the bottom line is 2 things. If I can find the opportunities for volunteering for the individuals and groups on at least like volunteer match for maths, that would be great. Second thing is for mothers, if they can drop in their kids to be taken care of, and they can help volunteer.
So on the first one, we actually are redesigning our whole infrastructure for the web. We don't need to wait, but I would definitely take you as a volunteer to build that volunteer base for our website. So you can touch base with Ayaz. After that, it's actually a brilliant idea, because I think that we'll extend our volunteers and then we'll be able to do that. And you want to add other stuff?
No, I think you just mentioned regarding the kids stuff. Just that we also have started having the bouncing castles stuff, where so it's not necessarily drop your kids and volunteer, but there are some avenues now, where for younger kids, parents can come in and let their kids play for 3 hours, and then maybe they can donate that time to MAPS.
And I totally agree with you. I think we don't have a structured volunteer stuff. That's one of the things that we are lacking at. Yeah. So we'll work on that, and as you build that, some of your ideas we can start implementing, inshallah.
So let me ask a question. If somebody has an idea, well, if they want to drive the idea, what should we do?
Just drive it.
I can't come in here and invent something. What is the...
This is the key point, rest of the thing, right? I think one of the pillars was the
Sister Sami also want to answer this. She's a Samia.
One of the things is platform. Like map, you need to consider that map is a platform. If you really are going to wait for us, it may not happen, right? I mean, this is like failure on our part. But as I see, actually not me, but in a lot of the board members here, like they are stretched. And that is where you really come in and make things happen. If you're passionate about some area, it just takes simple email to describe the simple one pager that what this idea is about, what your goals are, and inshallah start driving it. That's the only way we can scale out. Because 7 people, 9 people in the board, there's no way we can achieve all these things.
Let me ask you the reverse question. What are you guys doing so that you are of a minimum friction? I think that should be your focus, I think.
So I think you asked a very pointed question. I think it's as simple as just sending an email with an idea to the board, and we are alhamdulillah very good in responding, and we try our best and say, hey, go ahead and meet with this person and do it. And we have so many examples in the last year where we have let people come up with their ideas and drive us. So it should be.
So example, Brother Allah started this program, right? He wanted to educate the new converts Muslims. He started it on his own, and mashallah, you can see that every Friday. Sister Sohair, actually, she started a halaqah for girls only, and we did not even know, and all of a sudden it became official program. Now we want to advertise. And similarly, other programs in where that Sister Narima, she had this idea that we need to really beautify the space outside, and how we can do landscaping, beautify it. So she took the initiative, and then it just happened. So I really encourage and invite everyone that inshallah anything, any area you're passionate about, just take the first step and inshallah things will be good.
So just to follow up on the volunteering question earlier, there seems to be a lot of interest from the community to get involved, and there are lots of great ideas. Is there, I have been on the website and I try to look for resources, and maybe inshallah when the new website comes out it will be easy to navigate. But my question is there a specific subcommittee that meets on a regular basis that whose focus is exclusively on or thoroughly on volunteering and how to engage the community and how to connect and partner with pre-existing volunteer opportunities, like for example with Habitat for Humanity or with Feeding the Homeless activities, some interfaith volunteering activities. So if there is such a subcommittee, could you please let us know what is the name of the person or the people to get in touch with and how to get involved?
Yeah, so I think what we have is a social services committee which covers all the aspects that we talked about, and Sister Samia is the board representative, so you can get in touch with her.
Basically what we need, like you say, is volunteers. So just send, like you say, an email to the board, and then the board member that's creating that we contact you, like you consider a committee regarding volunteering. Each kind of board member have their own committee as well, volunteer, and try to hire more. That's what we need. We need hiring volunteers to be able to make programs. One person can do it, and more people can be responsible of different events or different things.
So I think we are reaching 9:35 time now, and there was a question that came in the, somebody handed over to me. How can we create some of the etiquettes of the dress code in the masjid? So alhamdulillah, this particular area where we are sitting, our MAPS is actually a big community center. A lot of activities happen. There is a kitchen, there is basketball, all the rental area, etc. So as far as the area of the prayer is concerned, where we are sitting here, people already know that they have to cover their heads and come in this particular area. And all the other areas are more of a community center type, so they are free to do the other stuff. Last, okay.
Can we have our kids pray Salah with us? Because one thing I've noticed is that when it's not Jummah, I see kids play outside, and two things. One, it's good for them if they come to pray. Second is it's a large distraction for the people who are praying, right? So I've seen every masjid has own version of this problem. So I've seen some Muslims, they have.
Can we have kids pray with us? I mean, we can say Imam Jabban always remind us. It's a problem, like, you know, that, yeah.
With the adults, we have one adult, one kid, one adult, one kid. I've actually seen that work much better than the earlier suggestions. But I would like to see that implemented.
Okay. So the question is, could we have a kids pray the prayers with adults? I think Chef Juban all the time says to ask the parents to bring their kids and pray with it. We don't have a organized line that is reserved for the kids, but the goal is to bring your kids and pray with you here. And if the kids are too small and if they make you know, a lot of noise or they are uneasy, then we have the other room which is dedicated for them to go there and pray. But I think you know, it is up to the parents to bring. Many times we see the parents themselves, they don't, you know, bring the kids, but there's nothing that should stop you to have a kid with you or the other parents on the side to play with it. And maybe we'll listen. There isn't anything that is like a boundary between us. It is just the addressing of the needs that are existing in the community that the other communities are doing. And we are more than happy. We talk about different things that whenever it comes to us to do that. We had an annual event where we gathered all the massages, not only ICOR and ICOE, but in the entire Seattle area, where just to have this community reach, so we can share some of the things in time of need, emergency, or whatever it is, so that we are one ummah.
Sorry, one last question. Typically, a masjid, in the Muslim world, is always supported by the state, so the state funds it. Whereas here, it's a different structure. Have you guys ever thought of having a payment structure similar to something, not necessarily like a church, but more like membership dues and stuff, so that we can sustain ourselves
So we do have a membership system. I think it's 25 years, 50 bucks. Membership 50? Yeah. So there's a membership fee for $50 for 2 years. That's $25 for 1 year. The challenge with that is, you want to keep the bar very low so that people are encouraged to come, right? We are a very diverse community, so you don't want necessarily to charge on membership, rather than somebody can delete one of the video.
And just to build on it, our vision is it should be an open center without any financial constraints for people to come, which is a very important principle on which we operate, especially if somebody wants to come to the masjid and pray and participate in it. Alhamdulillah, we have different programs. So we have the annual drive, which is a fundraiser where we reach out to the people who can donate. And we also advertise that for a family size, there is a certain amount that yearly is your equivalent expense during the fundraiser time. So it's a very subtle way of telling the families that this is your due, without really enforcing like church, which if you don't pay the money, you can come. So we don't want to do that, but I think we are working on different angles. There is a monthly donor base which constantly give every month to the amount that they have. And on the annual fundraiser, we calculate it and we say for a family size, here is the amount that is expected to maintain the masjid, like this. It's $2,500 was last year. So that is the amount that we help to the people. Some of them give, some of them, they may not have resources, so we don't push that. Yeah, we are also starting to create an endowment for MAPS, which one of the Board of Trustees is sort of looking at it, so you can sign up on your will, the assets and all for the organization. So we are launching that process for building the endowment. Okay, Jazakumullah khair. We'll just close with dua, inshallah. اللهم صل على سيدنا نبينا مولانا محمد وعلى ال محمد وبارك وسلم والعصر ان الانسان لفي خسر الا الذين امنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. Jazakumullah khair. Feel free to send email or anything if you didn't cover anything.